prepared for something new. Everyone is different. So are you. Stay straight. No masquerades. Do things that you'll remember. You can push too far, but stay fair. Stay on track. Give it your all. Get to the bottom of things. Decide what's right. Don't believe in what the others do. Find it out for yourself. Be close to it all. Bring your heart along. Follow your goals. Reach for the stars. Turn the weekend into the loudest party of your life. Are you prepared?
A very good afternoon. Welcome to the Norisring as we're about to get qualifying for race 8 for the DTM underway. This phenomenal street circuit where once a year is converted from public roads into the racing surface, the like of which Matthias Ekstrom will be on. So there is Matthias Ekstrom in the final stages of preparation, just ahead of qualifying. Qualifying absolutely critical. And, well, you can see how critical it is for Lucas Auer and Eduardo Mortara. They are already lined up in the pit lane, ready to go out on track. Lucas Auer was very, very quick in free practice, it has to be said, which we were watching the timing screens for the entire free practice session. And Lucas Auer looking very good. What can he do in qualifying? What he does want to do is find himself in clear air. There is Bruno Spengler, who was hugely successful in the race yesterday, taking the win, the first win for 25 years for BMW at the Norisring. The last time a BMW won at Norisring, it was Steve Soper, the UK racer, at the wheel of the car. Steve, if you're watching, your win has now been taken away by Bruno Spengler. This is one of the new introductions to DTM for 2017, and that's the pit view for the race fans, allowing the race fans to get even closer to the racing action as Timo Glock is focusing. And at the moment, he is the best of the BMWs in the overall standings, Timo Glock. Alex alongside me. Every driver knows just how critical this qualifying is, and the tension really, really mounts for qualifying, doesn't it? Because this does give you the grid position. Loss, of course, can happen in the race, but you can give yourself a real edge by being at the front.
Yes, we saw yesterday the drivers who were at the front, especially in these wet conditions, we had just straight before the race, got a good advantage after the first corner. Lucas
Auer then, as I mentioned, was quickest in free practice. Then it was René Rast. In fact, there was a four-way fight with Audi on the next 4 positions. And there you can see the second page of who did what during the free practice. Don't read too much into the free practice, although that will have given Lucas Auer a bit of a confidence boost. And going into this qualifying session, know that he potentially has got the car underneath him to give him a very, very good qualification time. You can see the cars, or many of the cars, lined up there, just awaiting the greens. One of the cars that isn't lined up there is Nico Muller. You just saw to the right-hand side of the picture there, the fans viewing area, which is, as I said, one of the new introductions to DTM this year, allowing those fans to get ever closer. Bruno Spengler then, victorious yesterday, making his way into the pit lane. Also too, there is the number 2 car of Gary Paffett, the HWA Mercedes driver, former champion, of course, Gary Paffett. And at the head of the field, before the cars are released onto the track, it's Lucas Auer and Eduardo Mortara. Eduardo Mortara, of course, going to Mercedes this year from a career with Audi, and hasn't yet completely found his rhythm with the Mercedes car. As the light goes green now, and Lucas Auer will be the first to make it out onto the track in this very short, sharp qualifying session. Just 20 minutes of this track surface the drivers have to try and set the fastest lap and give themselves pole position for the 55-minute plus 1 lap race to come in the early part of this evening, late afternoon, early evening for the DTM cars here at the Norisring. Weather conditions quite overcast. It's a different day to yesterday. And there is Timo Glock then in the all-yellow Deutsche Post liveried car. And we go on board with Timo Glock now as he makes his way down the pit lane. Clock ticks away so very quickly during this qualifying session. Out comes Matthias Ekstrom then in the Audi. Then we see Tom Blomqvist. Then it's Nico Muller. Then Timo Glock and all the rest. Before we see Marco Wittmann exiting the pit lane as well. Huge crowd here, as always, here at the Norisring. They really love this weekend, and it's no surprise because it delivers fantastic race action. And this, the qualifying session then for DTM Race 2. And we're on board with Lucas Auer, who will give us a reference time. First of all, expect the times to come tumbling down as the session increases, but a reference time, first of all, will come from Lucas Auer, whom we have the clock on. So close to the wall here on this 2.3 kilometer circuit. Heavy braking now as you approach the Scholler S. And make your way through the Scholler S, which is turns 4 and 5 effectively, before absolutely flat now. There is a kink to the right-hand side, which is turn 6, and then again heavy braking before the Dutzendijk turn, which is this one. Get the car settled, then back on the throttle as you head towards the timing line. And in the space of 52.256 seconds, a lap is done. Edo Mortara already going quicker than Lucas Auer. As I say, just don't read too much into these times at the moment because they will come tumbling down over the course of qualifying. And the reason for that is, of course, you go out, you get the tyres warmed up, you get the brakes warmed up, Alex, and you begin to feel as one with the car, don't you?
Yeah, you need some laps to get those tires in, as we said. It's new for this year. The driver doesn't have the tire heaters, tire warmers, so of course they need to get some laps to get those tires in, to warm them up, to get everything settled down. Of course, they need to get into the rhythm. Also, we have other categories before DTM. It's also kind of other type of rubber on the track. It has to be a little bit clean off and work with the hand-cooked tires we have. So we need some laps that everything gets settled down.
49.483 then for Lucas Auer, who is fastest currently. Then it's Mike Rockefeller, then it's René Rast, then Augusto Farfus, then Edo Mortara, but that changes already because Loic Duval goes P5. Here comes Marco Wittmann. He is the current DTM champion, two-time DTM champion. Marco Wittmann then crosses the timing line, and he's 50.345 as Jens Marquardt, the boss of BMW, looks on. The best that can give him at the moment is P12. We're back on board with Lucas Auer, who's done a PB in Sector 1, better than anyone across the middle sector for Lucas Auer then. So we will go from the 49s undoubtedly into the 48s. Not quite yet because we're still 3/10 away from that, but Maxime Martin has done a 48.812, but already René Rast has beaten that by some margin. It's 48.237 for René Rast. We're on board with Matthias Ekstrom now, who's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2. The green indication on the graphics indicates it's a personal best. If it's purple, it's best of anyone. Sector 3 gets completed by Matthias Ekstrom, and he moves up some 7 places to go P6. Right, Maxime Martin. Now you can see the purple sector time for Sector 1 means he's quicker than anyone. The green sector for Sector 2 means it's a personal best for Maxime Martin. 48.064 now is the reference time from Lucas Auer. And now Maxime Martin is the first to break the 48 seconds. He delivers a 47.896, which is immediately taken by René Rast with a 47.822. Marco Wittmann has done quicker Sector 1 than anyone thus far. Sector 2 was not quite so good, but it still might be enough for Marco Wittmann to go from P7 to P1. Bruno Spengler from P10 to P4. He, of course, was yesterday's race winner.
Lucas Auer coming also really good in the first sector and second sector, so for sure I think he will get a mid-47 time.
Here
Coming on
is
the screen.
Lucas Auer now. Well picked up by Alex then. And sure enough, you're right, 47.585.
Matthias coming also really fast. René Rast also coming with a really good sector 2.
Here comes René Rast across the timing line now, and he goes fastest with a 47.523. All of a sudden, what we're seeing now is the margins of difference are smaller because we're getting towards the fastest that we can go around this Norisring circuit, and Matthias Ekström has done a overall best through Sector 1 as Hans-Jürgen Abt looks on. PB through Sector 2, P9 to P5 for Matthias Ekström. Lost a little bit of time in the final sector.
But don't lose his eyes on Maxime Martin, who is coming again. Really quick on Sector 1, really good Sector 2. We have it now on the screen.
So here comes Maxime Martin, the Belgian driver then, who was on the podium yesterday. What can Maxime Martin do from P5? He can go to P2. Spengler is quickest currently, 47.414. Then it's Martin, then it's Lucas Auer. But all of a sudden, René Rast goes second fastest.
Really good lag also from Bruno Spengler, improving all his sector. No best overall, but PB.
Spengler and Rast on exactly the same time.
Sitting now on his car, he takes the shorter line on the straight line to make it a little bit better. Yeah, he didn't improve by much,
improve.
But he kept the first position.
How rare is it to see this, that on our timing screen, the same lap time identical between Bruno Spengler and René Rast. Here comes Lucas Auer then, faster than anyone through Sector 1, Sector 2.
Should do a picture of this.
Little bit down, and Lucas Auer, not a good Sector 3 either. Oh, look, now that has got to get the award for the closest to the wall of anyone. Here comes Lucas Auer once again. We go back on board with him. The order at the moment is BMW with Bruno Spengler, high on confidence following the victory yesterday. René Rast for Audi is P2. And then it's Tom Blomqvist, then it's Maxime Martin. The best of the Mercedes-Benz is Lucas Auer, who's P5 at the moment. Bruno Spengler then, 47.414, matched by René Rast, who has done exactly the same, and we have just 12.5 minutes of this qualifying session remaining. It's P5 at the moment for Lucas Auer, trying to find a little bit more, but he's Sector 1.
One lap left, 1 lap.
It was not so good, but it doesn't matter because 47.344 now makes Lucas Auer the quickest, and that's really interesting, Alex, because he had a relatively not so good Sector 1, then it was PB, Sector 2 and Sector 3, but it's putting all those sectors together has given Auer 47.344.
Yeah, exactly. We saw this already yesterday. You don't need to have all the best sectors to have a top lap time. You just need to have a good compromise between all your sector to be in the front. Because we see many drivers having really good Sector 1, really good Sector 3, but they never manage to put all together. We see now the replay of Nico Müller.
No improvement.
Oh, that's also close, Award. We'll have a battle now in the qualifying.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Nico Müller right up against the concrete wall. Maxime Martin then, P5 at the moment. So the order is Mercedes-Benz with Auer, then it's BMW, Bruno Spengler, yesterday's race winner, then it's René Rast, P3 for Audi. Here comes Matthias Ekström. So Eki then, PB through Sector 1. We're on board with Jamie Green, who's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2.
I have a bit more front end, but the traction is not the best.
And Jamie Green goes from P16 to P11. Here comes Matthias Ekström. P8 to P1, 47.329 for Matthias Ekström. So Eki is quickest. It's now Audi, Mercedes, BMW, the 1, 2, 3 with just under 11 minutes remaining. Here comes Eduardo Mortara. He's greened both Sector 1 and Sector 2. He's P14 at the moment. And stays P14, doesn't improve because the final sector was not a good sector for Eduardo Mortara in the sister car to that of Lucas Auer. Lucas Auer, fastest of the Mercedes drivers at the moment, but in replay, this is Matthias Ekström, who has gone fastest with a 47.329. And
So no needed for adjustment, just to nail the driving.
Hans-Jürgen Abt.
Copy that.
Here comes Edo Mortara then for another go. It's P14 at the moment for Eduardo Mortara.
Coming in the pit. Everyone going now for the second shot of this qualifying 2.
And it becomes very busy on track, doesn't it? As every car will have come in, made perhaps slight adjustments, new set of tyres going on, then they will be back out again. But then it becomes almost, you're reliant partly on your engineer in terms of when he releases you, aren't you, Alex? Because you want to get out into virtually clean air, or as clean air as you're likely to get on a circuit which is only 2.3 kilometers long.
Yeah, exactly. This is a lot of things mainly down to the engineer. He can see really good where are the other cars, where your position. But once you're on the racetrack, it's everything down to the driver, the one who needs to decide what he want to do, if he wants to brake a little bit and wait, if he wants to push and pass the other car and get his position. Once you're on the racetrack, you're alone and you have to decide. Especially we have this year in DTM, the engineers cannot tell the drivers many things, so they have to decide a lot of things on their own. So it's getting a little bit more tricky to the drivers to manage all these things.
Well, Ekstrom is the quickest at the moment with a 47.329. Then it's Lucas out. Then it's Bruno Spengler. So Lucas out then.
Okay, Lucas, we adjusted the front pressures a bit. You have a new set, and in front of you is a Mercedes. So you got a bit of protection.
So final instructions given to Lucas then. Adjustments made to the front tyre pressures.
It's Gary in front of you. Everybody's coming out of the pits now.
And what the engineer was saying there, you've got a Mercedes in front of you which will offer you a bit of protection. But what does he mean by that, Alex?
It's meaning what we were just talking about traffic.
Yes.
It means that he should not have many problems of traffic, of course, because they're internally connected. So
Right.
if, for example, the engineer is watching that Lucas Howard's coming a really good lap and Gary might be in front of Lucas, they might get a message to say, okay, stay away, Lucas is coming for pole. So that's
Okay.
why I think it means with protection. He's protected because of its internal Mercedes.
Okay, so it is another Mercedes driver then that's on track ahead of Lucas out. There is Matthias Ekstrom, who, with his 47.329, with 7.5 minutes of the session remaining, has been the fastest thus far. Minor adjustments having been made to the cars then. And what can Matthias Ekstrom do? What can any of the other 18 drivers or any of the other 17 drivers do? Including Jamie Green, who we go on board with now. It is P11 for Jamie Green as he runs into the BMW ahead. Not literally, but very, very close to it. That BMW is that of Maxime Martin. You can see on the right-hand side of the screen what gear Jamie Green is in and the speed and the revs.
Okay, there is a lot of traffic. So 3 cars approaching. Rast, Spengler, and Beacons.
So Matthias Ekstrom being told who to expect around him when he makes his way out of the pit lane as he does now.
Next car approaching is Farfus.
There is Augusto Farfus weaving from side to side.
Okay, car behind you is Farfus in a quick lap, 3 seconds margin. Next one, it's Enge in a quick lap.
Equally, Alex, how critical is it, this traffic from your
Next one
engineer
is Bittman in a quick lap.
saying if someone is on a quick lap or not? Because of course you can be penalised if you're deemed to have been, if you have deemed to have blocked someone in qualifying, perhaps unintentionally.
Yeah, exactly. It has two sides. First, the engineers tell you he's going to give quick lap, so to let you know in case they are coming, approaching you, you should let them pass.
Yes.
You can get penalized. And also, it's good to know that they're in a quick lap, because when they pass you, you know they're going to push. They are not lifting, they are not on a warm-up lap, so
Okay.
they're pushing. So you know you don't need to leave a lot of gap, because they already will pull out of you, will go away from you, because they are pushing as well.
Okay.
And we have here the margin, the difference here in the racetrack are not so big, so we have small difference, small margin, so it might not affect you as much when they are pushing and going away from you.
Understood. Right, here is René Rast then, weaving from side to side. P4 at the moment for René Rast. This is Paul de Resta then. And we're on board with yesterday's race winner, Bruno Spengler, who currently is third fastest up to this point in the session. Ekstrom still holds that top spot of 47.329. Then it's then it is this man, Bruno Spengler. So getting his tyres up to temperature now as he heads down towards the first turn, which is the Grundig turn. Turns in, rotates the car. On board with Jamie Green. There you can see he's 5/10ths down in the two sectors in comparison to that reference time from Matthias Ekström. Jamie Green then in the number 53 car crosses the timing line now with a time of 48.061, which only gives him P11. Wow, that first corner comes up so quickly after the timing line. No sooner have you welded your foot through the floor of the accelerator pedal and you need to be back on the brake again. Bruno Spengler then, 47.447. That doesn't better his previous 47.414. Augusto Farfus is P8. Here comes Mauro Engel. Mauro Engel at the moment is plumb last. There's Augusto Farfus in the BMW.
5 laps to go, 5 laps to go.
So that's all you have is 5 laps. Nico Muller is a P8.
Always nice to hear a familiar Spanish voice behind the wheels. Has to be said, I know this our now new boy is the engineer of Matthias Ekström. He was engineer of my brother when he was racing Seat Leon Cup.
Well, there you go.
Everything stays close.
Yes.
Getting so down, he has to give me a place, huh?
You see now Lucas Auer is struggling with traffic. You need to give me a place. Asking the engineer to tell them where to put the car so he can get a free lap. So everyone's struggling with traffic except Augusto Farfus got a really good sector 1.
So there is Augusto Farfus. Here is Nico Muller, then done a PB in sector 1. Not quite so good in sector 2. There's the reference time from Matthias Ekström as Nico Muller heads towards the timing line now. It's a P5 for Nico Muller. Ekström crosses the timing line now. And then Loic Duval, I think it was, that was following the Matthias Ekström car. Right, the number 6 car is Robert Wickens. He's done a PB in sector 1. Not quite so quick through sector 2 for Robert Wickens, who is across the timing line now, and out of the bag comes a 47.256 for Robert Wickens. Mike Rockenfeller improves 6 places. Tom Blomqvist now goes quickest with a 47.252.
Nico Muller also coming a really good lap, crossing out the start-finish line. Goes P3, 47.289.
So all 3 manufacturers across the top 3 places then, BMW, Mercedes and Audi, with BMW leading the field in terms of times at the moment with under 2 minutes of this qualifying session left. Here comes Augusto Farfus, the BMW driver who is currently P15. Can Augusto Farfus improve from that P15 position? The answer is no. Tom Blomqvist, he's the quickest, a 47.252. This will not be an improvement.
Looks like for me everyone is trying to find the gap.
Yes.
You see many difference in sector times. Now Spengler is improving on his first sector. PB for Bruno in sector 1.
It's so close between them all, isn't it? Loic Duval crosses the timing line. Let's go on board with Bruno Spengler then. As Alex has identified, it's a...
No improvement for Bruno Spengler in sector 2. But as we saw, you don't need to have all your sector really good. You just need to be good in the overall. So we'll see now sector 3 of the start-finish line.
Well,
not there yet.
But it was only 600ths away from where he achieved his time for P4. So Bruno Spengler got another lap. Here comes Matthias Ekström. Blomqvist at the moment, and when you consider Ekström was quickest for some time, but now he's down there in P5.
Last lap.
And now it's this lap or no lap, isn't it? Maxime Martin, P7 until the timing line now, but stays P7 because he doesn't improve.
PB again for Spengler in sector 1, no improvement in sector 2.
So Bruno Spengler then at P4 as he heads towards the timing line now. Here comes Bruno Spengler, and again he's 9/100ths down on his previous best time.
Tom Blomqvist coming also faster, sector PB sector 2. He will get the checker flag. Bruno Spengler will have another shot.
Did Bruno cross before the checkered flag
Yeah,
came
7
down?
seconds
Okay.
before.
So
But
Blomqvist.
no improvement for Bruno in Sector 1.
There's Matthias Ekström. He stays P5 at the moment.
Okay, Matthias, cool down the brakes. Session is finished. You finish position 5. Blomqvist, Beacons.
So 47.252 from Tom Blomqvist then. It's a pole position for BMW, then P2 for Mercedes-Benz with Robert Wickens, and then it's Nico Müller for Audi who takes the P3 with a 47.289. Let me remind you, the result of the race yesterday, Bruno Spengler P1, Maxime Martin P2, Matthias Ekström was P3, and what I said yesterday, Alex, is as we look at the replays of Tom Blomqvist going fastest in this qualifying session, what I said yesterday is you look at the result of race 1, that does not give you a form guide for qualifying or race 2, and sure enough, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's totally another story, another situation, another times. So you cannot take into account the result of the yesterday's race or even free practice 3 this morning. It can change everything.
So the car's being pushed back into the garages now. Tom Blomqvist, the one that has done the best job, 47.252, plays Robert Wickens at 47.256. So the margin of difference we're talking about there, Alex, is 4 1,000ths.
1,000, it's nothing. It's marginal difference.
But of course, that marginal difference means Blomqvist is just ahead of Wickens when it comes to the grid. But after saying that, because you have a offset grid here at the Norisring, you really want the inside line going into turn 1. The inside line actually on the grid will be with Robert Wickens for P2, won't it? But
yeah,
of course, Blomqvist will be further ahead.
We need to see Blomqvist how he managed later on with the starts and how, well, because we've seen already what can happen. You can have a really good start, a really powered start. Yesterday was in the wet conditions. Bruno Spengler was in P4 and he was blistering out of the box. Managed to do a really good start. So we still it's almost there. Bruno Spengler is again P4, so he might repeat like yesterday. Yesterday was slippery conditions. Today we might have dry condition, but we don't know yet. No one was expecting rain yesterday or such a heavy rain, and it came just straight before the start of the race.
The margin was 5 1,000ths yesterday. Today, it's 4 1,000ths. Blomqvist, Wickens, Müller, Spengler, Ekström, Auer, Martin, Rockenfeller, Glock, and René Rast rounding out the top 10 in qualifying. And what an exciting race it's going to be. 55 minutes plus 1 lap to come late afternoon this afternoon. Between late afternoon and early evening, the race is on track. Let's take super slow-mos of the top 3 in that qualifying session. It was a 47.289 for Nico Müller in his Audi RS5 DTM. That gives him P3. For Robert Wickens, a 47.256. You can almost not imagine what a 4 1,000ths margin is, but that is the margin between P2 and P1. So it's Robert Wickens on P2, but the lap time of 47.252 belongs to Tom Blomqvist in the M4 DTM. He has done the job and finds himself on pole position for the race to come in front of the thousands of fans that are here at this street circuit at Norisring for the race of DTM to come later on. Here comes the starting grid for race number 8 then, and on the front row of the grid we find Tom Blomqvist, pole position. Alongside him is Robert Wickens.
Second row of the grid, we have Nico Müller, and then followed with Bruno Spengler, same position like yesterday. Let's see if he can do same start like he did.
Maybe so. Matthias Ekström led the qualifying session for quite a while. He finds himself P5, and alongside him is Lucas Auer, P6.
Next row, BMW, Audi, Maxime Martin on 7th position, Mike Rockenfeller on 8th.
So BMW and Audi on that row, and indeed on this row with Timo Glock P9 and René Rast goes from P10.
P11 goes to Gary Paffett, P12 to the ex-DTM champion last season, Marco Wittmann.
Indeed, the current champion Marco Wittmann is ahead of Paul de Resta and Jamie Green because they are on row 7.
Row 8 goes for Augusto Farfus and Eduardo Mortara. Struggling Eduardo to find his pace.
Indeed so. Loic Duval, it's P17, and Maro Engel is P18. That is the grid set for race 2 of this DTM race weekend to come later on today, as we once again look at the pictures of the Tom Blomqvist car, number 31. He drove that to great effect during the qualifying session and delivered a 47.252. He pats the car and there removes his headgear, and the huge crowds here with just some harmless high cloud now and a bit of blue sky as well, and hopefully rain is not going to affect the race to come later this afternoon here at the Norisring. This 2.3 kilometer circuit, which delivers such fantastic entertainment in terms of motor racing from DTM. So really good shot then of the spectators who do truly flock to this event. It's always extremely well populated, and Nico Muller impressed during the qualifying because his 47.289 for Audi gives him P3 on the grid. For Mercedes-Benz, of course, Robert Wickens doing the job, putting that car in to P6. As we look at Matthias Ekström, it's P5 for Matthias Ekström. Was on the podium yesterday here at the Norisring, and Hans-Jürgen App then thought there was a faster time potentially in the car and in the driver. And Lucas Auer, P6, it is for Lucas Auer, the Mercedes-Benz driver. Lucas Auer, who had such a fantastic start to the DTM season for 2017, needs to get everything back on track once again, as some fantastic shots have been gleaned around this very unforgiving street circuit. Jamie Green, P14.
Not his best.
But the margins, you know.
It's so close. It's between P1 and P10 is 1.5 tenths, and between P1 and P18, the full grid is in 6 tenths. So that's nothing.
6 tenths. You know,
not even a second.
So there we have it then. Blomqvist Wickens. It's a late afternoon race, around about 5:10. Make sure you join Alex and myself for that from qualifying. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.